Beth talks about the beginning of her journey with Molly. This is a Blends family story.
So I had a baby with a chromosome disorder, and discovered when she was about 2 days old that she might be blind. At that stage, we had no idea, so we had to have our eyes scanned, and we discovered that one of her eyes, she was probably definitely going to be blind in one of her eyes, but we didn't know about the other. So it was very much a waiting game, and we had to wait for probably about 3 months before we had a good idea of sort of how much she could see. And she didn't smile until she was about 3 months old. So when we caught a glimpse of her first smile, that was heartbreaking and was a huge relief for Nick and I. It was a really happy moment, something that will stay with us forever. It was very hard for us to know where to start. We were given Molly's chromosome disorder name, and that meant nothing to us. So we were given the name of a geneticist. The geneticist came to visit us in hospital and told us that he would need to take some blood tests from Nick and I and try and identify kind of how Molly was born with a chromosome disorder and what that was going to mean for Molly. At that stage, he couldn't tell us anything. So again, it was a waiting game. We had to wait for the test results to come back, the geneticist to understand about Molly's chromosome makeup, and yeah, he couldn't really give us much more information apart from the fact that she was missing a deletion. She had a deletion in the long arm of chromosome number 7, which meant nothing to us. So yeah, it was really, going back, it was really frustrating. I spent a long time on the internet, putting on all sorts of different numbers, names of chromosome disorders, and it was a minefield, and it was just mind-boggling. And I spent so many hours in those first 3 months, and it was really frightening as well, because there were so many other behavioural issues coming up and disabilities that were associated with Molly's deletion, and it was terrifying. We just didn't know what the future was going to hold, and eventually we stopped looking on the internet and decided just to see how she grew and watch her development. And we were very lucky, because we were put in touch with a counsellor through the Foundation of the Blind in Scotland, and she hooked me up with a nursery through the Foundation of the Blind. So there were other mums and other children with disabilities, not exactly the same as Molly, but similar to. They ranged, and it was a lovely environment for me to be able to express my feelings and be around a group of people who understood where I was coming from. Yeah. It was too hard to be able to talk to people about it initially. I didn't know how to react myself initially, let alone talk to anybody else. Nick and I struggled to communicate our feelings to each other, because we were both trying to come to grasp, with our situation. And I just had a baby, and it wasn't what I was expecting, and I thought that it was going to be different. I thought I was going to have a healthy baby and we'd all be home after a day, and it wasn't like that at all. So I didn't know how to deal with it. So in terms of being able to talk to other people, I could speak to my parents, but I couldn't talk to anybody else. It was even very hard to talk to my siblings about what had happened, because I just couldn't grasp. I couldn't grasp the scale of it. I didn't know myself what was happening, and I felt like I couldn't answer any questions for anybody else. And I guess I was also protecting myself and protecting Nick, and wanting to shelter ourselves from the world, to be able to deal with what was happening. I can't remember a specific day or time when I suddenly realised that I had to come to grips with things and understand where Molly is. She's changing all the time, but I have certainly managed to find some reassurance, I guess, when she reaches a milestone, seeing her make developments. Each time that happens, it gives me more strength and hope, and yeah, and my love, of course, just continues to grow for her, no matter what. But there are moments when her progress might seem to go backwards, or she might display a behaviour that I haven't seen before, and that can trigger off an alarm bell inside me, and I start to panic a little bit, and worry, and think, well, what does this mean? Do I need to do anything about this? Is this going to continue, or is this just a typical thing that a child does at this age? So yeah, I try to take each day as it comes. I've tried to. It's been hard to learn, and it's taken me a long time to learn that, I guess. And I just have to remind myself that I can only do that. I can't look further down the road at the moment, and just enjoy where she is now, and ensure that she has the support that she needs right now to continue developing. Yeah.
Many thanks to Beth and her family. You can find more ideas, information and stories at blens.school.nz.